Need to change your chain, but do you really need to change your sprockets? Let's dive into it. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. As I said in the beginning, is it necessary to change your sprockets when you change your chain? Now, conventional wisdom always says that from a maintenance and mechanical standpoint, whenever you change your chain, you should change your sprockets so that everything is wearing equally. And if you put a new chain on old sprockets, it may wear that chain out prematurely because of the wear and the stretch that'll occur and the way that it fits in the teeth. So that's what I had been doing, is changing the sprockets at the same time I changed the chain. Now, everything I'm going to talk about today is really applicable to the KTM 390 Adventure, which is a low horsepower engine. It's around 43 to 44 horsepower. But if you also are riding a lower horsepower engine, this is also applicable. Now, the chain that came on this bike was not very good. I would say between 3,000 and 4,000 miles, it started wearing out. It got to the point that I was having to adjust it every 300 to 400 to 500 miles because it was stretching so much. So if you're new to the channel or you're new to having a KTM 390 Adventure and you haven't gone through that first chain yet, I recommend just change the chain now. Hopefully you're newer in the mileage, a couple thousand. Just put a new chain on it. You'll be happy because you won't be adjusting it all the time in a couple thousand miles. Now, I also did a video on the chain stretching on this bike that I'll leave a link in the description. So I changed the chain and I changed the sprockets around 9,000, 9,500 miles. And when I pulled the sprockets off and compared the new and the old, I didn't see a lot of wear on the old sprockets comparing them to the new. So it really made me think, could I run the same sprockets for multiple chains? So I did a very unscientific research project and put a new chain on new sprockets and then use that chain up. I got about 9,500 miles on that chain. It was not a riveted chain. I used a master link, the clipped master link. And that's where it ended up wearing out around the 9,500 mile mark. It also was binding in a couple other places, but the riding I was doing on that second 9,500 miles was a lot of rain and then water crossings. It was exposed to a lot of moisture. And I am not great at cleaning my chain. I'm not great at lubing it. I do it now and again when I think about it. So that chain was abused pretty hard. The other thing about that particular chain is I didn't buy a premium chain at the $150 to $200. I spent $65 or $70 for like a low mid-grade chain just to see how long it would last, and I needed to stay within a certain budget. So around 9,500 miles, I put a new chain on, left the old sprockets, and then continued to run it to see how long it would go. I got around another 9,000 miles on that second chain, and I noticed it was starting to clunk a little bit. It was starting to bind. The master link, the clip master link on that one was also wearing out. It wasn't as in bad a shape as the other one when I changed it, but I still changed it around 9,000. This time I bought new sprockets to see and compare the new sprockets to the ones that were on there. And when I compared sprockets that had 19,000 miles on to the new ones, which you'll see in this video here, there wasn't any difference. I couldn't see any wear on the old sprockets compared to the new. So it really makes me think that on this bike with the lower horsepower, it is not necessary to change out the steel sprockets. I was using the JT sprockets I picked up from Rocky Mountain ATV and MC. Very inexpensive overall for drive chain sprockets. I got a chain from them as well. So all I'm going to do from this point forward is change the chain out. Now I may consider going to a little bit more premium chain, maybe $100, but I don't see myself spending $200 on a chain. That's just what I'm going to do. If you are running an aluminum sprocket on the rear, if you've changed the teeth on the rear sprocket, I do recommend changing that sprocket because that aluminum sprocket is going to wear much faster than a steel sprocket. But if you don't want to spend a lot of money on your drivetrain and essentially have sprockets that will likely last the life of this bike, stick with the steel sprockets. I think the stock sprockets, I could have just left those on there and be fine around that 30,000 mile mark. So anyway, if your drivetrain is wearing and it's going to be the chain, replace the chain, maybe consider whether or not you really need to change the sprockets. It's not hard to do, but maybe save a little bit of money and put that into a chain and get a little bit better chain. So anyway, this is just a quick video just to let you know that I don't think you need to change out your steel sprockets every time you change your chain. Just look at the wear on it. This lower horsepower engine is not going to be tearing up sprockets. Now the chains are eventually going to wear, especially if you're not spending a lot of money on a chain, and then depending on the conditions with water and rain and sand and dirt and all that, the chains are going to take the wear, but the sprockets seem to be doing pretty good. So anyway, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks for watching. Get out, do some riding, ride safe, and I will see you out there.